What's up, my friends? This is Coach Jan here at CrossFit Liberate. Got another at-home workout for you. Today is Wednesday, August 12th, and the workout's called Kicking and Screaming. So we're going a little bit longer today. 20 minutes is our time domain, trying to get as many rounds and reps as possible. And we're combining some varied types of weightlifting with our odd object and some core work. And our rounds are going to take a good bit of time here. We're looking for 5 to 8 minute rounds, which should get us somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 rounds on this workout. All right, getting into our warm-up for kicking and screaming. So 30 seconds each. We'll go active Samson plus an air squat. So pop out of that Samson, hit an air squat, and go back into the other side. Next, we'll grab a PVC or a large towel for some pass-throughs. Try to keep your arms straight here. All right, next we'll grab onto a door jamb or some other sturdy surface and hit some straight leg swings. Then active Spider-Man plus a hamstring stretch. Back to that PVC or large towel for some overhead squats. We'll hold on to that PVC or towel, go down to the floor and hit a hollow hold. Next is inchworm to push up. Back to that PVC or towel for pass-throughs. And then back down to the floor for the same arch hold with that PVC or towel. And for our mobility work today, we'll hit child's pose on that odd object. So it's a great stretch for your hips as well as for that overhead position. And then we'll go into warrior squats. Great warm up for that upper back. Make sure you try to get deeper into that rotation on each turn. All right, let's take a close look at kicking and screaming. So we have a 20-minute AMRAP today, starting with 10 odd object ground to overhead, going into 20 single arm odd object overhead squats, 30 straight-legged sit-ups, 40 odd object hang power clean and jerks. So today's longer AMRAP combines moderate weightlifting movements with some core work. This piece will challenge your overhead stamina, midline, and conditioning. Over the 20 minutes, you can expect to complete 3 to 4 rounds or a round every 5 to 7 minutes. With a lot of higher skill movements on the odd object, weight selection is going to be really important today with your odd object movements. Choose a light to moderate weight that allows you to move through big sets, 10 or more reps on all 3 movements. You'll want to use one weight for all 3 movements. This weight will likely be selected off the most difficult movement today, the single arm overhead squat. If the single arm overhead squat is not happening today due to mobility restrictions, we can substitute 20 front squats. If you're on the fence, lighter weights are better as they'll keep you moving. For the sit-ups, choose a number that you can complete in 90 seconds or less. And then as always, further movement subs and modifications are in the video description below. All right, focus for our movements today, starting with our hang squat cleans and ground to overhead, will be elbows back. One thing we can do to be more efficient with these higher skilled odd object movements is to keep the elbows back. The pull-up of the hang power clean and ground to overhead, we can think driving the elbow up and back behind us. This will prevent the weight from swinging forward like a kettlebell. When the weight swings forward, it can crash on us or disrupt balance, which makes receiving the weight much more difficult. In the overhead squats, keeping the elbow back behind the head and locked ensures the weight is positioned securely over the middle of the body. When the elbow and weight start to drift forward, it negatively affects the mechanics of the movement, causes you to have to fight a lot harder to stay balanced. This same positioning will help you with the overhead lockout on the ground to overhead and jerks. Finally, on the straight-legged sit-ups, let's look at our hip position. Although the sit-up is a fairly simple bodyweight movement, a good setup position here allows you to get the most out of this station. Pinning the hips to the floor in the sit-up will allow for full flexion extension of the abdominals. Even as you're moving fast today, prioritize a solid position with your hips. So some strategy advice for this workout. Workout starts with ground to overhead with that odd object. So while we can cycle touch and go reps here, we do have a lot of work coming after that ground to overhead. So be really smart about your pacing here to support what's left in the workout. And then with your overhead squats, once we get that weight locked out overhead, we really want to just stay there for as long as we can, because when we have to set that weight down, pick it right back up, it's wasting energy. So try to hold on to bigger sets on that overhead squat and recover on the sit-ups that follow. So with your sit-ups, consider those sort of an active rest. We're coming off some more challenging movements there, likely gonna have an elevated heart rate and breathing. So take those sit-ups at a nice sustainable pace that allows you to catch your breath and get ready for the last part of the round. And then with your odd object hang clean and jerks, we do have the object up in the hang position, so we're incentivized to go ahead and hold on to it for bigger sets. So on this movement, aim to hold onto at least sets of 10. All right, y'all, make sure you get after this workout with some intensity. As always with CrossFit, we want to bring intensity to our work. And then make sure you're tracking your scores in some form or fashion, whether it's a notebook or an app like SugarWOD. We want to be tracking progress. That's how we know we're getting fitter. And then if you plan on coming back to the gym, cannot wait to see you back here in person.